People have asked me a lot of times, well, why don't you have a parade? And why don't you like throw out beads and glitter and candy and all of those things? It's easy to think that if you live in a state where it's in a liberal bubble. You know, the West Coast, the East Coast. We are not free being gay people here in Jackson, Mississippi.
The stigma here is a little thick. I'm gonna say that because we are, there's nowhere around it. We are a Bible Belt state. Everything that's going on is hard here. So you can't live a holistic life that you try to live being your authentic self in Mississippi. Dealing with HIV and announcing that you have that is hard. A lot of us reject it. And I say us, I live HIV freely, but on a daily basis, I'm always having a conversation with somebody that's affected by it. Being here at Metro 2.0 allows me to meet awesome babies, and I call the community my babies. When you're in this community, you have so many kids here that has lost faith and lost hope because they want to be who they are. And a lot of people don't believe in it. Family being their biggest downfall. So they have to gain that trust within you to know that I can come to you at any time. And that's what gains us the respect that we need to run Life Inc. in our community through Metro 2.0. When we was brought the idea about the quilt here, I didn't know what it was, let me be honest about it. When they told us, me and my daughter Dominique, what it was, and we met up with the team, it was very emotional because we just lost Lovatus Walker.
I didn't acknowledge her the way I should have been, and I said I felt like that would have been the perfect way, especially knowing that her name is about to travel the country. I'm like, girl, you finna see more stuff than me. We was really like best friends, joke a lot.
It was like two kids. I had two kids. Basically. Because Lovatus actually moved in with us at a very low point in her life. I'm a lesbian myself. So when I came to this community, it's like I immediately gained several family members and kids. And don't get me wrong, it was a love in my perspective.
As a young person, Lovatus Walker was bullied and called various names simply because they were different. Dominique made this panel with her mother, Tamika, and friends at Jackson State University in the summer of 2022. This person helped me kind of become who I am now, Dominique.
My mother passed away. To actually have a way to honor her was a healing process for me. My family helped me do it. We were able to tell stories of, the fun times when she was here. And as other family members were impacted or other people I knew, I found out how healing it was to honor them and to know that they'll be able to travel the world with the AIDS Memorial Quilt. There's not a lot of Southern representation. There's not a lot of Black and brown representation. This is a way of showing people these are actually lives that were lost to HIV, and these lives counted. But let's learn from the loss and learn how to take care of ourselves so that we don't have to continue to add to the quilt. You can do anything you want to honor your loved one.
Okay, so that's what these chalk lines are for. As an individual who has a trans sister, Jewel Clemens, who died from HIV and AIDS, we felt that it was very important that we become a part of the AIDS Memorial Quilt.
The size is a 3x6 because that's the standard size that they dig a grave in the graveyard.
Jewel died in 1991. In her early diagnosis, they didn't even know what was wrong with her. So she lived 1 year after being diagnosed. There wasn't a lot of medication, there wasn't a lot of education, there wasn't a lot of information, there wasn't a lot of medical support. So my family was really kind of in the dark. And we didn't really know a lot or even how to adequately care for her. One thing that really was a driving force for me was that I never want another family to go through what my family went through. I saw my sister being discriminated in our own home, whereas you should have been cared for, during that time in your sickness. And she just didn't get it.
You can't make a mistake. This is the largest piece of folk art in the world.
It definitely has to be sparkly. And Jewel was very feminine. So we wanted to be feminine also.
I never knew that my aunt was trans until the funeral. And like she said, the times are different. There was a lot of ignorance within our family and around our family. And they buried my aunt as a male. That hurt me when I saw her in the casket. I was like, who is this? Because I knew she died, but I didn't know who that was in the casket because I've never seen my aunt as a male. I'm still scarred by that to this day. That was my last time seeing my aunt in a casket as a male with a suit on.
Unfortunately, in the South, we still dealing with a lot of anti-everything, pretty much. We are still fighting stigma. We're still fighting ignorance. That's just one of the fuel and the fire that contribute to individuals not receiving the information or the education that's out there. I really believe that one great equalizer is education. There are a lot of things in your community, in your area that you could become involved with. It has to be everyday citizens to get involved.
Here at Life Inc., we come up with ways to get the babies involved. So we throw parties. And in the midst of those parties, we're going to educate you. With Gilead helping us to gain any kind of leniency that we need during our water crisis, we never stop moving on the ground.
Big freedom. Thank y'all so much, Mississippi. Yes.
Let's educate ourselves and embrace our similarities versus our differences so that we can heal the country as a whole. If we start there, we can get rid of HIV and all the other isms that come along with the life that we live in the United States. Change the pattern.